Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledging knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. News, brews, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program. We call it Topic Thunder. It is the Internet Saloon, and we generally open the old doors every Wednesday night, 7 p.m., and we invite you all in. Plenty of room around the bar. And by the way, it's not your typical saloon at your typical bar by any means. No. Violence is not allowed, first and foremost, right? Second of all, we don't necessarily serve alcohol. There's a segment about alcohol. We'll get to that in just a moment.
Don't worry. Stoney McGee's favorite segment.
And it's weird because he's not much of a alcohol beer kind of person.
Know. You never know what's going to catch people's attention.
It's certainly not the entertainment value. What we're going to pour here is conversation. And yes. If you're
hopefully
familiar with the show,
conversation.
Well, that would hopefully be the point. And what garnered us what we call the world's most dangerous chat zone. That is the Thunderdome. You know it. There are VIPs in there already. Chompy Mage is first in, which we should be. I don't know. You get a gold star, or we should keep track. I don't want to create. My life is spreadsheets. I don't want to create a spreadsheet about who signed.
Bobby Suzuki in the house.
Fuck Dick Cheney. Well, why not? Yes, Dick Cheney's a war criminal. Dick Cheney shot somebody, shot a friend in the face.
But he's supporting Kamala Harris, so what do you think about that, Democrats? Well, good.
That should tell you the severity of the situation, if anything else, if we're all going
right. I mean,
that guy's
even really evil people like Dick Cheney know that Donald Trump is really bad for us. Yeah. Right.
So again, nonpartisan show. Ben and I have our views, and you have yours, and sure, the writing room and the producers here are the ones responsible. Certainly not any one of us for these stories. They just present us, and Ben and I just kind of do our riff kind of thing. But we feel these are lively talking points and worldly topics. Because we try to cover the globe. We just don't succeed every week. But nonetheless, without any dilly-dally, I guess, which will come up later too, by the way, folks. I've got one more beer to share with you from this awesome variety pack that I bought from my favorite brewery in Munster, Indiana, Three Floyds. That's Stoney McGee territory right there.
Yeah, it is.
One last one. This is the Black Sun Stout. I sent you. It's is oddly not on the Three Floyds website, so I think I sent you like a Beerly or Untapped link.
You did.
Yeah, one of these. It is. I'm not gonna lie. I've already had it. It was part of the weekend fiesta, which included episode of Super Wrestlers, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. Another tremendous episode.
There's something going on there, man. That's what I'm gonna say. I actually have the link pulled up. I'll share my screen a little bit after we crack this beer, because Angela and Gigi and I had a wonderful experience at the Super Wrestlers. Even if I did possibly running up against
the Bears didn't hurt it, huh? I saw that there was still solid attendance.
Yes, and Gigi just pointed out the greatest parody wrestling character of all time.
Stephen Flo.
Stephen Flo. Came out in full grunge affair, and it was just awesome. And if you've never been to Super Wrestlers, well, okay, folks, let me just crack this beer and get to the Brooks Bolts, and we'll get to that business here.
Double flannel.
He did actually two flannels. There's the crack of the beer. Here's the sip. I already have my grade assigned. This is a solid 4. This is it's a stout, but it is not. It's not like thick and foamy like a Guinness. It is
okay.
It has hints of coffee in it.
It does in the picture here on the link that you sent. It does have that like Guinness look to it in the glass, but you're saying it's not as heavy.
No, not at all. It's not actually. I struggle to come up with a beer to compare it to, like consistent. It's a little thicker than your. It's more like a lager. I don't know. Check it out yourselves if you can. But it is what they brand themselves as. It's not normal. And Three Floyds actually to Mr. Ryan Hansen, before they closed their tap room. Because they never recovered from COVID, Three Floyds had a tap room right next to their brewery, and you could pull in, and if you were able to get a seat, because it was very small, there was a little kind of bar extended section that you could get food, and then you could try whatever they had on tap. The only caveat to that was that you had to deal with a plus 11 on the volume for the heaviest of heavy metal.
Okay.
So I'm talking Meshuggah. I'm talking obviously a ton of Slayer. I'm talking the heaviest of heavy metal, and because that was basically their can art. Their can art rivals Pipeworks, which had Ninja versus Unicorn, but all of their stuff, it has that medieval fantasy hint. My favorite beer from them, my favorite beer from all time is Zombie Dust, and it's one of theirs. But they have another beer, Alpha King. It's just a skeleton with a crown and a sword. Like it's one of those, that the artwork. It's just, we love that kind of stuff here. We love the accoutrement along with a fantastic beverage. So kudos to them for producing another solid beer. This is a 4, and if I could give it a 4.25, I would, because it's not.
But we don't allow
Guinness.
that here.
We don't. I don't know. Yep.
We're not doing quarter point. No.
Just like the Fed, we're only going to move in half points, and that's it. We're not even going to talk about that story today, but that's what happened. Lemmy approves, and there's no.
Did you want to do this? I was going to say, you want to do the screen share first? Yeah.
Really quick, and I hope I don't get in trouble with the good people
we know
at
people
Super
in high
Wrestling.
places over there at Super Wrestling.
I'm going to go ahead and share some of the pictures that, of course, there might be some gratuitous selfies, but this is from my dear Gigi's Instagram, and an amalgamation of our pictures. I gotta get back here, and I gotta go back. I do this at work too. I talk while I'm working. It's probably really annoying, unprofessional. Here it is. You see you see that?
Still on stream. There you go.
So,
yes.
That is just to give you an idea of the production behind it, right? Like if you follow my cursor, you can see that. Like there is serious production behind this. It's not your typical pro wrestling show. It's just not. It's in a club.
I love it.
Club stuff. Oh, hey, look at those people. Hey,
Those fine people.
Good looking people right there. Look at that Danger Mask.
There's a throwback, by the way. Danger Mask. The fact that Danger Mask still exists blows my mind.
That's the OG Danger Mask, by the way. Like Mr.
Yes,
Wrestling 1, 2, 3, 4, like that.
Yes, it's the original. Yeah.
Yep. Pulled off a hey, look at those good looking people.
Hey.
US A-hole and his mascot Propecia.
I love that fucking guy. Look at him. What's not to love about that guy?
Oh, it's great. This is filet mignon, a delay mignon, who promised burgers.
Slowest cook.
the world's slowest cooker, promised everybody burgers, then just used the grill to burn the face of Destructo, intergalactic bounty hunter.
Yes, you heard that right, ladies and gentlemen.
But look at what happened. There's effects, like the smoke guns went off, the steam, whatever those things are called. I'm not a stagehand. Look what happened on the outside of this, right? The lighting effects.
No, it's great. The timing.
It was
and
all
everything.
punched up.
Yeah.
Everything was ready to go.
It's wrestling theater. That's what I think. That's what the best way to describe it.
This
Pro
is
wrestling theater.
Current prize holding super wrestler Rydal versus Pubic Moose.
Pubic Moose, another favorite of mine.
Pubic Moose is
I know. Was he about to do the go to sleep there?
a little bit, maybe. And Rydal actually murdered his brother last episode of Super Wrestlers. Literally murdered him. So we're dealing with that as a fan base right now. Rydal, a crowd favorite and a personal favorite.
Of a death.
Here is Siphon versus Stephen Flo. Double flannel, just as Gigi pointed out. And here you have Shogun versus Nolan the fucking Wizard. Yes, Nolan.
I saw a photo of Nolan the Wizard spewing green mist.
Oh, hey, Inception. Somebody taking a video of me, taking a picture, a video of somebody else in the ring. Like, what I will say, and as I relinquish control back to you, Ben, is that Super Wrestlers is a fantastic experiment into, like you said, Ben, theater. It is about showmanship and presentation. However, there are some of the most talented professional wrestlers in the Chicago area, not and beyond, to be honest with you. People come from Wisconsin and Indiana to be a part of this. They surrender their already established gimmicks and money-making identities to come in and, oh, you want me to be a guy who has some weird power in my hand and I'm not sure, but it's tied to this, but I'm no longer the guy that sells the T-shirts that makes it worth me coming out to an indie show. Wait, you're going to tell me that I have to surrender my identity as a good guy to be a bad guy? It's because of the strength of the story of the product. It is believed and endorsed by people in the business. They are knocking at the door at this thing. They want to be a part of this thing, right? So if you can, you absolutely should. You might want to take, as Gigi and I did, take the next day off. It is sponsored by PBR, Pabst Blue Ribbon. Legitimately, the show is...
I didn't need another hook.
They actually introduced that segment with you saw Stephen Flo and Siphon. That was the other the guy delivering the back body drop. That was a new segment in the Super Wrestler show, the Pabst Blast, and it was two new wrestlers or an introduction of it's legitimately the show is sponsored by PBR, but now they have a segment and a match sponsored by PBR, and that's how you got Stephen Flo, and it legitimately like a karaoke version of Pearl Jam's Even Flow. Stephen Flo, and it went on like that. So if you remember wrestling where you could kind of truly suspend your disbelief and believe in a plumber coming in and being somebody from the Amazon or anybody, somebody who plays the bad part, and space aliens now, creatures with powers, wizards, odd shoguns.
Francesco, we have a new member of the World's Most Dangerous chat room, Francesco Napoli, joining us from our YouTube page. It says Jim Cornette approves. I think that he's saying that facetiously because this is definitely not something that Jim Cornette is likely to approve of. He would hate every minute of it probably, but that's okay because it's not for like that's the beauty of professional wrestling is that there are different styles and not every style is for everyone. Lucha Libre is not for everyone. It's if you watch it, you can watch it and go, this shit is like super, super fake. Like they're doing it's choreographed. It's different. It's not American pro wrestling, right? And this is just a different niche of professional wrestling.
It's the fantasy
it's not for
aspect.
Everyone.
The fantasy aspect that I think like what was it Shakira that tried to do the they bring in everybody from everywhere, but all these characters are weird, but they define how these characters are weird. They just wear masks and they did weird. Right?
Shakira. Yes, they did. They
Shakira,
did that a lot.
thank you. This is we are going to take the time to find the right people because they can afford to fit into these slots, and we're going to say, you, sir, are going to be the slowest chef in the world, and we're going to call you Delay Mignon. And by the way, if you haven't already, you can go to Spotify and check out the Super Wrestlers on Spotify. The theme music for Delay Mignon will haunt you forever. Forever. So that I guess we're just going to leave you with that. If actually, and here, you know what? Jim Cornette might approve of it because he might go, I've never seen it done like this before. Maybe. Or like this is like it unshackled and just for the pure fun of it. I don't know. I've never met Jim Cornette. I hear he has some interesting things to say about somebody I know or used to know, but I hear the music. So I know we're being moved on by our producers into the next segment of the show we conveniently call Headlines. Guess what that's about? You don't have to guess. You're part of the Thunderdome. You're the smartest audience in the world. It's Headlines. And gosh almighty, some weird shit's going on out in the world right now. And that's something to say on a show that usually covers ginormous world events on the weekly.
Yeah. This is the fucking craziest shit I have ever heard, Brooks. Like, I can't believe that this is real in 2024. On a couple of different levels, to be perfectly honest with you.
Let's break those down really quick. Let's just
here's some notes that they've got. Reuters has some good bullet points here to kind of walk us through.
If you haven't really paid attention, there has been over the last 2 days a series of small to medium-sized electronic devices that have mysteriously detonated in Lebanon. And actually Syria too. These devices
targeting Hezbollah, particularly.
Yes, allegedly successful. But I think that's I don't. Hey, welcome to Topic Thunder. We've been talking about some of the same stuff for a long time, and part of that conversation is the breadth and the length of it, because a lot of information, a lot of different stories, and a lot of different axes to these stories all come together and play out sometimes in very demonstrative moments, like this particular story. This is just a culmination of something that certainly was lit, and not just lit because we didn't start the fire. This particular situation was set ablaze on October 7th last year, right? But when Hezbollah viciously attacked Israel and murdered, slaughtered all those people, right? But since then, the fog of war kind of fell over everything. And Ben and I have been. I think you and I deserve a Barry Horowitz wrestling reference pat on the back that we've been very neutral and measured in our discussions about this. Right, given all of the evidence in all of the stories, I think we've been very fair in our ability to kind of cover this and try to see, like, okay, we're comfortable, I guess, enough to call out both sides on their mutual atrocities. Could we just agree on that, right? Let's just kind of, that's our platform here. We can call that out on both sides here. This plays into several different other threads that we cover on this particular show, which one of them being technology. Another one of them being technology in warfare. It's a thing of mine. I love building model aircraft carriers and battleships, and I did all of that stuff. I was fascinated by the Pacific Theater in World War II, and as a kid, I read as much as I could about it. I'm fascinated by the machinations and movements of war. Here we are talking about a situation where we've had aggression, we've had a tumultuous at least 10 years where certain parts of the world, and this is not even counting all of Syria, but certain parts of the world in the Middle East and in Eastern Europe and Western Russia have been just ablaze. Literally, we'll get to that. We just saw an evolution in combat and intelligence and in assassination and
reckless disregard for human life.
That too. When, if you're unaware, and that's a long way to get to the story, but you had to hit. There's context to this, right? This story is not a vacuum. Where we've over the last 2 days have seen multiple thousands of people being injured or hurt, if not killed, by the explosion of pagers or otherwise like personal communication devices. I've seen stories going up to there's iPads, although
walkie-talkies and pagers,
or where we are right now, and this is one of the craziest stories.
So Ryan Hansen asked the
show. Go for it. Yes. Who?
I was gonna say Ryan Hansen, asked the question like, who still has a fucking pager? And that is another layer of this story that is worth, because that's you ask like immediately when you hear that who still has a pager, right? People that work in the medical industry certainly, but like just carrying it around with you, like most people have cell phones now, right? Well, the reason that these guys had this is fascinating to me. The reason that they were all carrying these pagers is because they realized they couldn't use cell phones because cell phones were very easily tracked and traceable and hackable and all those things, right?
Which, okay, hold on. I want to stop you for a reason. I want to stop you right there.
Yeah.
And what they realized is that they were being tracked. All of their cellular communications were being tracked, and that was part of because of a piece of software called Pegasus, which we've covered on this show, which is a demon of an information collecting tool that bypasses anything that your HR department has put in place as far as your personal information. We've covered a story about them selling their Pegasus program to people who aren't enemies, they aren't friends. So I just want to interject that. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Ben, but I want to put that in place that they have that ability to collect all of that data.
Yeah, so they knew they were being tracked by cell phones, so they switched to pagers, and they ordered them from a company in Europe that has a license from a Chinese company. Did you guys lose me there?
I got you. I'm still here.
Okay, you guys didn't lose me. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm having a little bit of glitch on my side, and I don't know if it's affecting
internet.
What's going out. So if I'm breaking up, let me know. But if I'm not, I'm just going to keep ranting. Okay, so they knew that they were being tracked on the cell phones. So they go to this European company who has a license from a Chinese company to make these pagers, and they order these pagers for all their people in the.
Right.
And so see, some people did lose me. Okay, I apologize. But somewhere between or involving that company in Europe, between when those devices left that company in Europe and when they got delivered to the people at Hezbollah, they were fucked with. Those devices were fucked with. They were intercepted and fucked with, and explosives were inserted into them. And then we don't still at this point don't know how long those explosives were just sitting there waiting for this moment. And then at one moment, at one time, collectively on Tuesday, and then now here on today on Wednesday, at certain moments, no matter where these people were, a collective like detonation goes off, and 20 people were killed today, 3,000 people were injured. Now, all those people aren't involved with Hezbollah. There was some video I saw of a guy who was just at the market shopping for food, and his fucking belt explodes. Like, people were injured. Like, dude, people that had nothing to do with this. There was, like, as coordinated as it obviously was and had to have been,
right,
to be able to have pulled this off, it was very coordinated. This is not something they did overnight. This is months, if not over a year worth of planning.
Over a year.
Some
They've
cases,
already
probably.
announced it. Like, they already planned. I'm going to get to that, actually, but I want you to finish your point.
Okay, so I'm still ranting, but the one thing that they apparently didn't either account for or give a shit about is who was going to be standing around these guys and where were they going to be. Like, for as coordinated as it was, they didn't coordinate that all those guys would be in like one place at one time or away from civilians. They did not give a fuck when they decided to detonate those. The collateral damage clearly did not matter to them, and that makes it pretty fucked up on Israel's part.
I mean, we also want to say that, like, we shouldn't necessarily be accepting. Again, we talk about the fog of war.
Who else would have done it, though, dude?
No.
Who
I'm
else
not
would
talking
have
about
done
that. I'm talking about the numbers that are being announced.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
like, especially the numbers of injured, like thousands. Like, I get it. Like, if you got hit by a piece of shrapnel and all of a sudden, like, you have a little scratch on your arm. Yes. Would you not have that scratch on your arm should that thing have not gone off? Yes. But are you? Again, the fog of war. I count that on both sides.
Though. It speaks to the theme of what Israel's thought process has been throughout this whole thing, which is they are holding an entire civilization of people accountable for the acts of a very extreme wing of that society, and continually attack Hezbollah and Hamas in very public places with utter disregard for what happens to the innocent people that have nothing to do with Hezbollah or Hamas, that happen to be just standing around these people at the market or wherever, at a church service, whatever the fuck, at a hospital, at a school.
Well, that's what happened today. Was that several devices went off during a funeral procession for three Hezbollah operatives, but also for like a child or two. One or two. I'm not sure. I've read different stories. But they went off then. That was one thing. That was what went off today, And I agree with you, Ben. Like there, and
God damn, that's
Bobby
fucked up,
Suzuki.
man.
Your points are taken and acknowledged, and we're not the judge of history or anything like that. I don't necessarily completely 100% disagree with you on your points. There are some really questionable things that are being done here that we're, as United States citizens and voters, are complicit with too. I'm going to make the comparison, and just I hope a compelling one, in just a little bit, about what's being allowed to be used as far as the U.S. arsenal and stockpile versus what's being allowed to be used by Ukraine. But then the same use and genius invention of use of technology and application warfare. This one's heavy warfare, folks. So I didn't want to necessarily get way deep into the weeds on politics, but what we have to recognize here is that, like, Ben, your point is totally taken. There was a complete disregard for civilians. However, in those videos, to me, it seemed like brilliantly, only the people that were holding those pagers got hit. I still have not seen reports that, like, okay, so like you were saying, Ben, people carry pagers outside of this line of terrorist work. I do at work, because I need to know when there's an airway situation on the 14th floor, or a cardiac arrest on the ICU, or there's a trauma coming into the trauma bay in the ED. I need to know that. I need to search people there. I need to put, hey, we need to bring.
Right.
I have
organizations. Things need to be done. Protocols, whatnot. Yeah.
I haven't seen that level of destruction. Which let's just think about this for a second. Israel has been clearly planning this for a long time. For some reason, for some reason, they knew about this situation before, or right around, or just after October 7th, when Hezbollah,
right? Because it's not even a full year since
Hamas attacked, right? Israel, the Mossad, and they have, I guess, a secret agency or section of their Mossad called, I deleted the story from the show, called 8022, that literally developed this plan. Understand what this plan meant is that they knew at some point their enemies, I'm talking about the Israelis, at some point they knew their enemies were going to figure out that they were being listened to in their conventional means of communication at the time. Cell phones, WhatsApp, what did I just say? What's
right.
up? As far as, like,
yes,
WhatsApp. Yeah, I'm old. I'm middle age, but they figured, they counted on their enemy figuring out that they were being listened to. But not only did they count on their enemy figuring out that they were eventually going to be, oh, we need to pivot, they picked the exact mode.
I think that's giving them too much credit. I think it was more reactive. Like, I think they had intelligence that said that that an order was placed with this pager company, and then they said, okay, this is an opportunity for us to take advantage. I think that's far more. I think that level of intelligence would be just an amazing amount of dumb luck if they were just like, you know what, we're going to go ahead and just pick this random European pager company and just start tracking them. I think it was more. It would lead me to believe. I would have to believe that in monitoring them, They found out that they knew they were listening, and they got intelligence on what they were going to do, and then they got ahead of that.
Do you know how quickly the supply chain would have to move for allegedly, and we have a video.
If you have help from European nations
to
that
allegedly
are supplying
place
you intelligence,
20 grams of an explosive directly tied to the battery system of the pager, and that specific order made its way to these particular peoples because
I think they knew the order was. I think they knew the order was put in, and they intercepted the order during delivery and fucked with them. I think that seems like the most plausible way that went down to me.
I would argue the other way, that they anticipated it, and this was put in at the line of production, and because I don't.
But either way, it's fucking brilliant in its own way. It is
I guess right.
Idea.
Like that's either way. Like those are the two options. I guess that because it's that like you're being given it.
Right.
Like,
we can sit here and pick nits, but either way, it's a brilliant idea. To have pulled it off is brilliant, although also fucking really dangerous and borderline irresponsible. And here's my kind of final thought on it, and we can move on, or you can kind of put your own bow on it. This definitely gets us further from peace in that whole war that's going on there.
Well, this all happened in Lebanon,
because
Syria.
Hezbollah and Hamas are not going to come to the table to negotiate now. They're going to want their pound of flesh back. That is what, and you can almost understand their thinking on it. It's like, fuck you, or you're gonna do something like this. Fuck you, we're not coming to the table and negotiating at all with you motherfuckers. Let's get real ugly. If you want to play dirty like that, let's fucking play dirty. That's the one thing. They better have good intelligence, because if they don't, you have to imagine that the counter strike to this is going to be no fun for anybody involved. Let's put it that way.
Here at Topic Thunder, we are no strangers to the idea that not only are we spying on not only our enemies, but our friends, but not then our friends and our enemies are also spying on us, which I guess it's one of those assumed rules here that we all come to that general understanding, because I'm not going to dive into any kind of stupid conspiracies, and we're just going to talk about facts. So we do the things that other countries accuse us of doing, and
all the time.
However, I will tell you that at this moment, in this particular piece of land, in this particular government idea, we still have a chance to try to vote out all of this madness, and that's why it's
because there is some fucking madness coming.
And and look, Harris, Trump, clearly we've made the case. We don't. If you're not familiar with the show, just go back and look. Harris has her own set of problems, and it's
right.
I don't mean to be crude about this, and I don't want to dive too much back into this particular story, but it's whether, do you want a slow death with Harris and a chance to fight? Or do you want literally a day one dictator? And I don't mean to say that lightly, but the guy really fucking means it, that will institute Project 2025 and all its horrors and warts and atrocities shortly thereafter, as your quick death, and that's all. That's don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into it with Bobby Suzuki about that. What I want to get into is that it's provable that Russia is clearly fucking with this election, and not only with the indictments of those social media influencers and podcasters who are making $100,000 an episode, Ben.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wearing stupid hats like Tim Pool.
What are we doing wrong?
Not wearing dumb hats and being completely ridiculous like Tim Pool.
I will sell.
By the way,
products.
Facebook and Meta finally took RT off. I've followed RT for a long time.
Ben,
Back
we
to
were at
the days
OG.
when Lee Camp. Yeah, remember Lee Camp was on our old podcast back in our old life. It was a comedian that Vito and I interviewed numerous times on our show that we had kind of befriended. He ended up having a show, a very Daily Show-esque type show on RT for a long time. He has since long left RT, but I was very familiar with RT for a long time. And you warned me long ago what they were all about, and it's turning out to be obviously true.
Thank you. But I was also at the beginning. I was also refreshed by we're getting the other side of the story from the Russian. All right, because I was in that mode and not fully informed about the level of integration into media that the Russian intelligence apparatus had clearly established. I've since learned a lot and established this podcast in a lot of ways to broadcast that.
Yeah.
And the proof is
I didn't know anything. I didn't
out.
know anything about this hit and run story. This is news. This is new to me.
And this is from our friends at The Guardian. Russia propaganda group behind fake Kamala Harris hit and run story, says Microsoft. Microsoft researchers found that the group created a video, paid an actor to appear as the alleged victim, and spread the claim through a fake website. We have covered stories here. A real quick timeout. We've covered stories here on this show about especially a former Chicago cop was just shuttled off to Russia and started multiple news sites that somehow were parroting Kremlin talking points. But they had the right URLs, and they were all of a sudden started showing up in your Facebook timeline. Hey, good job, Zuckerberg. 5 years, 7 years too late, but thank you. They started infesting your Instagram feed and your Twitter feed with these stories. Here is the level of sophistication of this attack. A false claim circulating on social media that Kamala Harris was involved in an alleged hit and run in San Francisco in 2011 is the work of a covert Russian disinformation operation, according to new research by Microsoft. Take them at their word, because they better be able to blame somebody. Researchers found that a group created a video, paid an actor to appear as the alleged victim, and spread the claim through a fake website for a non-existent San Francisco news outlet named KBSF-TV. The Russian group responsible, which Microsoft dubs Storm 1516, is described as a Kremlin-aligned troll farm. Really quick, the way you generate interest in a website or a Facebook post or an Instagram post or whatever is that you have people like it. You have people comment on it. Those can be controlled and manipulated by algorithms. You can create little mini programs.
Would that be like stories like Haitian immigrants eating dogs and cats in Springfield, Ohio?
We may have covered stories and how easy it was for Cambridge Analytica. Remember that name?
Yeah, Cambridge Analytica, yeah. Uh-huh.
To manipulate the then 2016 and 2020 election. And it's because they understood how to drive traffic to your eyes. This
True.
is one of those ways. It's misinformation. They can create the story. They will boost the story, and they have no intention of doing anything else with that story. Because let's be very frank and honest about our attention spans right now. Once something hits our eyes, it's got 20 seconds, 15 seconds to inform us and quickly inform our opinion. It's either you're going to click on it or you're not. How much time do you is it even 15 seconds to see a headline and go, "Oh, this story affirms my alignment. This confirms my bias." Right? Do you know how easy it is to push something like that to someone, anyone, all of us? It just takes clicks and money.
The best part is that if you just let Trump do his thing, you don't even have to make up fake shit with him. He gives you real stuff to talk about and be like, what the fuck?
This was a very important story sent to us by our good friend, Tipton Moscow.
Indeed. Good man, that Tipton Moscow.
He is, and Ben, I know you work closely with him. So when we talk about the dangers of dis and misinformation, especially in this election year, we have to really pay attention then to what side is saying what. Ben, Tipton, I know, tipped you off to this, and from our good friends at Mother Jones. Ben.
Yeah. So over the weekend, Donald Trump took to Truth Social to elaborate on how he would, quote, end the migrant invasion of America, end quote. The candidate for president, who has repeatedly vowed to conduct the largest mass deportation campaign in U.S. history, side note, which we talked about, is impossible and also completely destructive to our economy, exhumed the usual laundry list. He would, quote, stop all migrant flights, do away with the Biden administration's Customs and Border Protection mobile app, and halt refugee resettlement. None of these proposals are new or surprising coming from the Trump campaign. But one part of the GOP nominee's weekend post stood out. Quote, we will return Kamala's illegal migrants to their home country, also known as remigration, Trump wrote. Former White House senior advisor Stephen Miller reposted it, saying, the Trump plan to end invasion of small-town America, remigration. And as we know, anything that Stephen Miller agrees with, we know is straight racist, nationalist, xenophobic trash.
I will go one step further. I will say this, and you can come fight me, Stephen.
But
Stephen Miller.
Yeah, exactly.
You
what is the
Nazi.
term remigration? Yeah, yes, 100% Nazi. Yes, he is. So this gentleman here on X points out what remigration really means and where that term comes from. It's a phrase. So he actually Googled it, and it's described as a far-right and identitarian political concept, largely used to describe the mass deportation of non-white immigrants and their descendants from Europe. So, yeah, it is super dangerous. Remigration, in a 2019 article about the rise of extreme anti-immigrant language in Europe from the Associated Express. Excuse me, I haven't even been drinking. What is wrong with me? From the Associated Press explains, is the chilling notion of returning immigrants to their native lands in what amounts to a soft-style ethnic cleansing. The word stands in for a policy that entails the forced repatriation or mass expulsion of non-ethnically European immigrants and their descendants, regardless of citizenship. I mean, this is what we're in for, folks. If we allow this maniac to become president of the United States. This is why we cannot let this happen, because it is going to be a fucking shit show around here. How are they going to do this? They're going to deport people regardless of their citizenship status. So just because you're a non-white European immigrant, you got to go. Sorry. Like, wait a minute, I was born here. Nope. Doesn't matter. Your skin is too brown. You got to go. You're not allowed here anymore.
I think a law. I don't want to say a law. I could be wrong, and so I actually want to address Bobby Suzuki in a moment too. That you couldn't have a vote in a election in Germany way back when, in the 1920s, if you weren't at least a third generation citizen.
Right. See, this is the shit we're headed towards.
And to your point, Bobby, you're not wrong. However, who's supporting those groups and those shadowy efforts to mess with our elections? This will be done at the the voting precincts. There'll be intimidation. There will, honestly, there's going to be violence during this election. It's just at hotbeds, and
it does seem inevitable. Yeah,
political and polyviolent targets like Atlanta or Columbia, South Carolina, or states that are questionable like Michigan or Wisconsin or Pennsylvania. There are going to be situations where these particular elements learned from their prior efforts and have, if not already planted their particular moles, or at least like subjugates, but also are ready to take action. It's going to be a very tumultuous next 6 months. Which, Ben, I think afterwards, if we're still able to broadcast in 6 months on this particular program with our particular views, I say we all take a vacation in Costa Rica and shut down.
I've long thought about moving to Costa Rica. So a vacation there just to make sure that that's where I want to go would be a good idea. I'm in. All right. Let's go.
All right.
We'll broadcast live from Costa Rica.
So I know we're hitting 8 o'clock almost. I want to just go back and talk about how warfare is changing in our very eyes in real time. Mm-hmm. I'm 48. In my lifetime, it went from the most tanks, the most infantry, to the most navy, to the most aircraft, to the most coordination, and now it's literally how technology and how quickly can we reproduce this particular piece of technology. And I'm talking about drones. For a long time, we've been talking about the restrictions placed on Ukraine to defend their territory against Russia. The invasion that's been going on since 2014, by the way, if you count Crimea, which we do, but at least the last 2.5 years in a recent memory. And the inability for Ukraine to strike deep, in their words, not strike the arrow, but shoot the archer. Because that's the problem, right? And just recently, several countries have said, you know what? This is all because, Russia puts up these red lines. They're like, well, if you do this, we're going to just launch our nukes. And we do that. And they're like, well, if you do that, we're just going to launch our nukes. Then we do that. And then they say, well, we're just going to launch our nukes. And then, so Russia's a bunch of bullshit and a bunch of bullies. And the best thing you can do with a bully is just punch it in the fucking face.
Right.
Which we're stopping. We're literally handcuffing this particular country in the defense. And this is where the similarities with Ukraine and Israel begin and end. Is their use of technology. Is that Israel got dirty and devious, like mind-blowingly devious. Like, wow, you somehow intercepted the supply chain and planted 20 grams of an explosive in these devices. All that, right? Here is Ukraine being handcuffed with their long striking weapons, having to develop their own version of these long striking weapons, and for the first time ever hitting something that's 300 miles away from the front lines. It happened to be an ammunitions deposit that housed a ton of missiles and bombs that are being used to strike hospitals, schools, power generation plants in Ukraine. And this is all part of a strategy of Ukraine we're going to get to in just a second. That is,
look at that explosion.
It looks like a small nuclear device went off.
It does, yeah. That's the beginning of this looks like a nuclear explosion from a distance.
And they 80 to 100 drones. But what they've started doing in Ukraine, we've seen them like develop sea drones and using like motorboat and small engines to create water drones. They put rockets on their drones, apparently.
It is, like Ryan Hansen says, does feel like video games with real life consequences.
It's happening, and it's happening in real time. And it's because like the fight to defend your own territory is what it's about. And this is all shortly after. Thank you, babe. This is all shortly after Ukraine's president Volodymyr Zelensky presented his what he calls plan for victory to the United States and allies, and said, "Look, we're not going to be. We cannot stay in this war of attrition where we're just killing each other. Just it's just a meat kill. It's just
that can't last forever. Yeah.
No, and eventually Russia's going to win that way. That's just they're going to grind you out.
They have more
because
people,
they've got,
right? Yeah.
That they're just continually putting out there to absorb bullets. So here comes Ukraine and says, "This is how we're going to win." This particular strike, 300 miles into Russia's border.
That's crazy.
Signals that they're willing and ready. And this ties into their incursion into Kursk, right? They're showing like, you know what? We're not just going to sit here and take it. We're going to fuck you too.
Yeah.
And the evolution of drone combat combined with the evolution of the greatest spy shit we've probably ever seen in our lives, with the use of pagers and beepers and walkie-talkies as explosive devices targeted to a certain particular buyer.
Mm-hmm.
Mind-blowing. One more thing about the whole Russia thing. Personal note. Yesterday was the anniversary of the Soviet Union entering World War II when they invaded Poland in a known agreement known as the Ribbentrop-Molotov Act that Russia gave Nazi Germany a certain amount of time to invade much of Central Europe, including Poland, with the agreement that 2 weeks later they would invade the eastern half. Those World War II buffs will know that it didn't necessarily work out particularly great for Russia because Nazi Germany was coming for Moscow. That's a different story. But what led to what most of us know as the Cold War, when both forces eventually agreed, the Allies and the Russians, to like, oh, well, shit. The Russians in there like, oh, we got fucked over. Stalin spent 30 days in seclusion because he was betrayed by Hitler because he was so depressed by it because he thought it would never happen, despite being warned about it. He never thought it would happen. He literally spent a month in seclusion because he was so distraught that we then joined forces with them and wiped out the Nazis, but then set up 60 years of division and conflict and tension in Europe, which is displayed today. All of these things tie in.
A little history lesson.
And all of these things matter to what we're doing today. Speaking of Europe, we're going to continue talking about our friends because this is not talked about enough. The massive flooding that is currently happening in Central Europe, particularly Poland, but also Czech, Romania, and Western Ukraine. Hurricanes, they call it Boris, which is hilarious, but not hilarious. But the death toll from the torrential rain and flooding in Central and Eastern Europe has risen to at least 16, with several more people missing as authorities reported deaths in the Czech Republic, Poland, and Austria, and warned the worst may be to come. A number of victims in Poland rose to 5 after a surgeon returning from. I don't think we need to go into specifics, but you want to see the videos? You want to see the videos, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm playing a little video here, but there's an even more incredible one here. Hold on, let me get this set up here.
That next link is pretty nuts. So these are the catastrophic, dare I say, biblical floodings that we were warned about. Not by the Bible, but by scientists who were telling us the planet's warming at an unusual rate. We need to do something. That's been going on for 50 years.
That's crazy.
This is going
That's
to
a lot of
continue
fucking
to happen.
water, man.
It's a lot of fucking water. And guess what you can do about water?
Nothing.
Shit.
Fucking nothing.
You will
never you are fucked.
ever win the war against water.
Nope.
It has the ultimate patience. It will outlast your technology. It will outlast you. Ben, we are for and forever will be on the side of freedom, whatever that means. And we define freedom that you believe and conduct yourself in such a way that you do not infringe upon the beliefs or conduct of another person. To me, that is the definition of freedom. I don't care that you have a belly ring, because it does not affect me. Would I get a belly ring? No.
No.
Can we extrapolate from that simple equation all the way out? Because we should.
Indeed.
We have covered this story. We've covered the story of the atrocities, murders of protesters in Iran following the death, not the death, and the AP washes the murder of Masha Amini. We are coming up on a 2-year protest, the 2 years of the anniversary, I guess, of that protest, where she defied the Iranian protocol police by not wearing her hijab. This story from the AP that women in Iran are going out with their hijabs for the second anniversary of Masha Amini's death. The bravery of these women on the streets of Iranian cities. It is becoming more common to see a woman passing by without the mandatory headscarf or hijab on the second anniversary of the death of Masha Amini, as mass protests sparked by that event. There's no government official or study acknowledging the phenomenon, which began as Iran entered its hot summer for months and power cuts in its overburdened electrical system. Wait, where are you spending all that oil money?
Yeah.
But across social media, videos of people filming neighborhood streets or just talking about a normal day in their life, women or girls can be seen walking past with their long hair out over their shoulders, particularly after sunset. Bless those women. We don't necessarily subscribe to the traditional religious idea of God here. I know people very close to Ben and I who might actually resemble Ben and I, who have done enough hallucinogens that they've actually met God. And to be frank with you, she has basically said to us, yeah, just keep my name out of your mouth.
Yeah.
I told you,
It's a good way to go about it.
be cool, be chill, be nice, do what you do. Don't tell somebody else what to do. I'll hang 10 with you on the other side. We have one more really terrible, horrible story to cover. But on the same breath, the long swing of the pendulum of justice actually exists. As we've all probably heard, P. Diddy was arrested this week on numerous charges for his long-rumored sex trafficking. And we're not one to celebrate the beefs, I guess. Ben, I have to take a drink here. Hold on.
Yeah, sorry. This screen is fucking me all up.
Okay, yeah, professional moment. I had to cough there and sneeze now.
Yeah, get it.
Okay, two things. I'm sorry. Two, props for being able to hit the cough button here.
Yes,
Thank
for
you.
Sure.
We all know Sean P. Diddy Combs was arrested, arraigned, and now detained without bail on numerous sex trafficking charges, which kind of back up a lot of rumor and a lot of actual, lyrical content, if you pay attention to the hip-hop world. People have been alluding to this stuff for a long, long time. Again, the slow swing of the pendulum of justice has finally struck true, and here we are with Sean Combs being arrested. Now, I didn't know that 50 Cent and P. Diddy didn't get along or had a beef.
Me neither. I wasn't aware of that. Yeah.
So, with that, the news that Sean Combs had been arrested for this particular situation, 50 Cent kind of threw some shade on Twitter, which is very interesting because I
was actually on Instagram. I
was
got
it
the post.
Insta? Go for it.
It was Instagram. Here you Here I am keeping good company with Drew Barrymore, and I don't have 1,000 bottles of lube at the house.
Apparently, Sean Combs was arrested, and there was over 1,000 bottles of baby oil found at his home, which, if you...
What the fuck are you doing? What was going on there?
If you dive into kind of the sordid details of the story, it's all terrible. It's all horrible. It makes you feel icky, so I understand if you don't want to. However, also tie this in to the company that P. Diddy kept. Wasn't he pals with Donald Trump? Shown in pictures with Donald Trump?
All right, Donald Trump is shown with horrible people.
With okay, so what do you mean by horrible people? Do you mean like Jeffrey Epstein?
Yes.
Oh, horrible people like Roger Stone.
Yes, that would count.
Oh.
Stephen Miller. Nick Fuentes.
Oh, noted white supremacist, even though his last name is Fuentes, and just based on
Elon Musk. Yeah.
Elon Musk, who's its own bag of things. Even though I still hang on to my Twitter account, I'll never give it up. Look, I know we're running tight on time. I don't want to drown you guys or myself on all of this negative stuff. The whole point is just to kind of throw out the topics, have a conversation, educate people, educate ourselves. That's it. And we want to kind of pull out. We're edging towards the lightning round. Hang on though. One of the greatest achievements of mankind as we know it is the Voyager program. And no, I'm not specifically speaking about the Star Trek, the original motion picture, where V'ger was the bad guy. V'ger being one of the Voyager probes that in 77 they were saying escaped the solar system and went out into interstellar space. Here I am right now looking at you and me right now, 2024, and we are talking about Voyager 1, a 47-year-old mission. It's almost... I'm just 1 year older than this spacecraft that was sent out and is did its time, did its mission, gathered data over Jupiter, and I think it did a survey of Saturn too, all the way. And they were like, well, we'll just send it out there. And now it's out there. And you might remember that we covered a story that we lost communication with it. And we were like, oh shit, it was almost like, did we lose a good one? Did we lose a good hero? Scientists, coding experts, I'm sure, coding experts dealing with code that was written in the 70s were able to get communication back. So much so that they were able to fire thrusters just yesterday to keep this particular piece of satellite aligned to Earth. These thrusters have not been fired in over decades.
Jesus.
This thing is beyond our solar system. It is beyond the heliosphere, which is the grip, the magnetic and atmospheric grip of our star, our sun. That's how far out this thing is. It's traveled farther. Look, you think you take a lot of steps in a day. This thing is it is by far the most successful scientific experiment ever.
Huh. That's saying something, but yeah.
It has gathered more information about our solar system, and now it's transmitting data outside of its solar system. It's exceeded its lifespan by decades.
Huh.
We like the microscope and love the telescope and all those great things. But this thing has been transmitting data for 47 years from outer space.
That's pretty incredible.
Gotta love the Voyager Expedition 1 and 2. We need more of it. Why aren't we sending more probes out there? Anyway, maybe because
Good question.
maybe because we can't get our children to react properly to a talking, dancing cactus.
I love listening.
Say some.
I love it.
I'm with you.
the ones that go right to violence.
Right. Like, fuck this
Like,
thing.
they're like, what? Ready to kick, ready to fight.
Speaking of kicking and fighting.
Certainly that we just see a bunch of babies punching and kicking the air and talking cactuses, because I would. That's nothing to do with the lightning round, which is the next and last segment of the show. Welcome into the world's most dangerous chat zone. We call it the Thunderdome. And in this particular instance, for this particular segment, we shut the doors of the Thunderdome. So you're either in or you're out. And we're going to explain what happens if you're in. You're one of three stories. I'm going to read three headlines. You,
Whoa.
the people,
No.
will go ahead and vote on what story we choose without any dilly or dally, which we mentioned in the beginning of the show. Synergy and tie-ins. Headline number one. Scientists who discovered mammals can breathe through their anuses receive a Nobel Prize. Take that in.
Okay.
Headline number two. Jogger covered in blood after wild animals gang up to attack them. And headline
Okay.
number three. Gas station worker accused of beating customer with bat for taking too much nacho cheese.
All right. We got that. Those are all three really good ones. There's a little diversity. There's a little. Yeah.
Little diversity there, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and dare I say, I don't know, no clear winner. Although I know the one I'd like to read, but my vote doesn't matter because I'm the mysterious voice behind the scenes.
You were impartial.
Absolutely. However, impartial I am. Forgiving I also am. So if you weren't paying attention before, I'm going to read those stories again. So, ladies and gentlemen, headline. Hold on. I do have a new beer, the Guminski. I don't have a.
Oh.
It's from New. Oh, we might cover it next week if the beers survive the week. Hold on. It's very delicious. It's very fruity and very tasteful. One more read through the headlines here. Headline number one. Scientists who discovered mammals can breathe through their anuses have won the Nobel Prize.
It just seems like something it should have gone something more serious.
Like, I'm serious. Like, I'm a mammal. Like, I want to know more.
Yeah.
Headline number 2. Jogger covered in blood after wild animals gang up. And headline number 3.
See,
Oh, yeah.
I know that story. And it to not tell you what the animal is in the headline is doing that story a disservice.
Funny enough, it's the same animal that was mentioned in the headline of the beer of choice last week. So if you remember the particular name of the beer we did in our segment called Drinks last week, you might have a hint there.
You may have a clue.
And then headline number 3. Gas station worker accused of beating customer with baseball bat for taking too much nacho cheese. There it is. Votes.
The votes are pretty spread out so far. There's a number 2, 2 number 1s, and 3 number 3s at this point. So 3 is in the lead. We haven't heard from Ahmad Jordan. I don't think we've heard from Ahmad Jordan yet. I don't know if Adrian is out there listening. That Australian guy hooked us up.
Where's Bobby Suzuki?
I haven't seen Biz tonight. Bobby Suzuki, you've been around the whole night. You're going to miss the lightning?
He dropped his very knowledgeable and clearly well-educated position on global affairs.
Yeah, Federico Napoli, he was here earlier. Ma Jordan, going with number 3. There we go.
We are kind of actually coming.
I think we're up against the clock, so let's just roll with number 3 and go.
We do have a clear winner here, and it is headline number 3. The votes are in, folks. We don't claim we lost the vote. We just submit ourselves to the wills of democracy. As I send Ben the link so you can see this as I read it. You voted headline from WLBT3. Gas station worker accused of beating customer with baseball bat for taking too much nacho cheese. Las Vegas, Nevada. From KVVU Gray News, a gas station worker is accused of beating a customer with a baseball bat over taking too much nacho cheese, according to an arrest report. Myron Bully is charged with attempted murder and assault after police responded to an Arco gas station in Las Vegas and found a man lying in the grass, bleeding from his head, nose, and ears. Police said the man could not tell officers what happened to him, and he was taken to the hospital. Police asked Bully what happened, and he told police the victim was, quote, taking expletive and talking shit. Talking shit.
He was talking shit.
And told him to leave the store. Bully then, quote, showed the officers a cheese machine that the bitch broke, and then explained that the victim was trying to steal, but he was upset that the bitch was getting too much cheese from the nacho cheese machine. The arrest report said, I'm just saying bitch just to identify the victim. I don't mean any disparaging remarks toward the victim. We prefer a redacted story. Thank you, Nevada Press. Bully reportedly told the victim to leave the store and to not break things, but said the victim insisted on getting nachos. So he pushed him out of the store and, so Bully pushed the guy, the bitch, out of the store, the report said. Bully told police he had a baseball bat and hit the victim. don't talk shit to me. Now everyone gonna see this, and they're gonna know never to talk shit to me. That was a quote that Bully told police, according to the arrest report. That's how you defend your store. You set an example. Video surveillance showed the suspect pushing the man out of his business. They both began to struggle over the bat, and Bully is seen punching the victim in the face and then hitting him with the bat. It's terrible. When the victim gets up to walk away, Bully hits him with the bat 3 more times, the police said in the arrest report, which I'm assuming is the attempted murder charge. The victim was standing at a nearby business about a minute away, and the suspect came out again and hit him with the bat with such force that the victim falls to the floor and does not get up until several minutes later. Police said the victim had brain bleeds, multiple skull fractures, blood in his ears and in his brain, and multiple facial fractures. Bully had a sprained wrist from the beating. Bully's bail was set at $10,000. That is the lightning round. Folks, thanks for hanging out with us. The Internet Saloon was popping this evening. So, folks, yeah, it certainly did escalate real quick there, didn't it, Ryan? You guys are awesome. You are the Thunderdome. You are the lifeblood of the show. We can't do it without you. It wouldn't be any fun. So thank you very much. Every Wednesday, we kind of open the doors here, and we certainly don't advertise that enough. Maybe we should, maybe we won't. Anyway, don't know where I was. That was a self-criticism that I stopped midway, that I didn't have a pivot for. Other than saying, my name is Brooks, that is Ben, this has been Topic Thunder. If you're listening, you are awesome. Thanks. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitch, we're on YouTube. Topic Thunder from the decks of the USS Rapapa.